your boy Corey.
It's your boy John.
And welcome back to the Artistry Drop, where we feature stories from today's rising artists.
Yes, sir.
If you like being inspired, don't miss out on our weekly episodes. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification to be notified when we drop new episodes.
Let's go.
Guys, our guest today is a powerhouse pop artist and songwriter. Through her dynamic vocals, knack for a killer hook, and unforgettable stage presence, she has emerged as a rising star with a distinctive style. Guys, please welcome our guest, Nina Nevra.
Let's go, Nina. Come on.
Good, Nina. Thank you for
Yes.
coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is sick. I'm
Hey,
so
I
stoked.
appreciate you. Yeah, we're excited to, kind of dive in, get to know you a little bit more.
Hell yeah.
But before we do, we got to get into the drink of the day.
All right,
I
so
was going to ask, this looks fantastic.
Yeah,
You're
thank
giving me
you.
tropical vibes.
Thank you. Yes,
sure.
we're getting ready for spring, summertime.
Please.
So this is something that I made up. It's the Artistry Sunset.
Oh,
so the
okay.
Artistry Sunset is
We've had that before, kind of, I think, right?
but it was slightly different.
Okay.
It's new today.
It's new today.
It's a new sunset. It's a new sunset for every season.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have orange juice with tequila.
Cool.
I put some lime in there, but it also has some orange juice mango. And then it also has some mango puree in there. And then I topped it off with some grenadine to give it an ombre look.
Wow.
And that is the Artistry Sunset.
Hey, let's go.
Okay, well,
Yes.
cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much,
Cheers.
guys.
Cheers,
Thank you.
cheers.
Oh my God, I can't wait to try.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
This is good. This
Yeah,
is
okay.
dangerous because this just makes you feel like you're drinking juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Exactly.
like by the end you're like, I'll just have another one. And I'm on the floor. So that
It's
is-
almost like a
good.
mimosa. A mimosa.
Yeah, it is
Don't
almost
even
like
get
a
me started.
mimosa.
You can get drunk on mimosas for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
too many times.
I know.
It's okay.
All right.
fine.
So we want to get into know Nina a little bit, of course, but we got to start off with some generic questions.
Yeah,
before we
for
get
sure.
into like the nitty gritty stuff. But what made you get into music, and at what age did you know you wanted to get into it?
Yeah, so I mean, I am at that cliche story of I've been into music my whole entire life. I was singing before I could even talk, and so I was born in Chicago. I was born in the US. I am clearly Australian though. It's very confusing. But yeah, no. And then we moved to Australia when I was 2 years old, and my mom was like, "Oh my God, this girl just keeps singing and making noises and making up songs, and what do I do with her?" And she's Austrian, so she is very familiar with like classical music, she was like, "What am I going to do with this girl? What am I going to do? She's always talking, whatever, singing." And her friend, I think at one point was like, "Why don't you try putting her in singing lessons?" And so at the age of 5, I got into classical singing lessons. And then I just always had this love for like pop and big voices like Aretha and Christina.
Yeah.
And from there, I did classical. And then when I became a teenager, I went into pop and classical, and then I don't know. There's no short answer. I've just always loved music. Hey, I've always been singing.
For
so,
sure.
Yeah.
Is Austrian a little bit different than Australian, or?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Europe and Australia.
Okay. So is your dad American born?
He's Swiss.
He's Swiss.
It just,
Okay.
I mean, it just keeps going, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So are you the only one with technically, I guess, like an Australian accent, or?
My sister also has
Your
an
sister,
Australian accent.
but your parents, they don't have an Australian.
No, they have. My dad has a Swiss accent. My mom has an Austrian accent.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Austin Swiss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Austin
I
Swiss.
know. And like, it's so funny. Like at the gig yesterday, they were like, "I thought you said you're Australian, but you're Austrian." I'm like, "Well, I'm both." And they're like, "I don't know if I'm too high or like what's going on." Like, it's fine.
Yeah. No, that's cool. When did you make the move out to LA? Did you live in Australia and up until that time when you decided to move out here?
Yeah. So from 2 to 18, I lived in Australia, lived there my whole life, grew up there. And then it came to, deciding where I was going to go to school. And I got into Berklee College of Music in Boston with a scholarship.
Yeah.
So
Congrats.
thank you so much.
for
And
real.
I wasn't going to go. And, I thank my mom every day. She was like, "We're going to go, like you're going to do this."
Yeah.
So moved to Boston, and then it was kind of like New York, LA, or like what's next for me. And I picked LA. I came out here for a week, loved the weather. My manager at the time was out here as well, and I just felt like this was the vibe. So I've been out here for like 4 years.
Nice. That's almost pretty much the same as us. We're 2019.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right before the pandemic.
Same exact. What month did you move out here?
Oh my gosh, I think it was like August.
Oh, literally the same as us.
Wow.
Yeah, same as us.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, full circle moment. I mean, honestly, it does suck because, we moved out here. We were expecting to, venture around LA. Few months hit. Yeah. COVID hits. We're locked in.
100%.
Didn't get to venture out of LA or anything like that. So it kind of sucked. Yeah. Were you culture shocked at all being here? Because there was a lot of things that we went through. We're like, this is weird, or we've never experienced it because we're originally from Seattle.
Oh wow! Yeah. Oh my gosh! So the weather for you guys was like, oh, it's so hot all the time.
Especially that year. I don't think it's been that hot since that year.
Absolutely not. Like the fact that I'm wearing this jacket right now is absurd to me. Like,
exactly.
What?
Yeah, for sure. Like what kind of culture shock did you go through? Because of course you came from Australia, and I'm sure it's way different.
Super different. I mean, moving to the US as a whole was very, very different for me. Of course, the language. We all speak English, but like just being Australian, like. Saying things like water. I know that's such a basic thing, but like people are like, what? And I do think in Australia, like we are a little bit more relaxed with a certain thing. So that was a big culture shock for me. And then moving to LA, like I'd grown up in a country town. So the driving wasn't really an issue, but after living in Boston for 4 years and getting so used to the public transport and being able to walk everywhere. Like I remember I was staying in Studio City, and then I think I had like a session in Studio City as well. I was like, oh my God, it's only like a 20-minute walk, like whatever. That 20-minute walk felt like 3 hours. Like, because it's so different. So definitely like the traffic, just the fact that you have so many different pockets. Like I think the biggest thing about moving to LA, and I tell that to everyone that moves out here and something that I took with me is you have to find your people and you have to find your tribe, because there's so many different pockets in this city. I hung out with people who were in the fashion industry, and I hung out with people that were not in music at all and people who were in music, and you really just have to figure out who your core people are. And it's great to know a million different people, but that is one thing about LA that it took me a while. It took me like 2 years to like really figure out that. But yeah, just the different types of pockets. Cause like in Boston, like you do have pockets, and New York, you of course have pockets, but I got here and I was like, oh my God. And also the traffic, like of course.
No, for sure. I agree with you. And me and him definitely agree with you, because once you move out here to LA, there are so many people. Like,
oh my God.
All of us, I'm sure, know hundreds of people, but we don't consider them like our, close friends or homies. 100%. You keep your circle tight, because especially out here in LA, there are those kind of people that, who knows, they may use you for certain things, and you want to avoid that kind of stuff, obviously.
Learning about the industry, it takes a minute, because you move out from wherever you're from, and you think you know a lot, and we're also eager, right, to pursue our dreams.
Right.
And of course, when you're 22 years old, you're like, I can do anything, I'm invincible. So I think just like you kind of have to go through those lessons, and you have to meet those people that maybe weren't the right people to meet, but they teach you so much.
Exactly.
And also, I moved here with the impression of people saying that LA is really fake. I just don't really agree with that. I think you have, like you have people that are like, they're going to do what they have to do and act the way that they need to act, but like, and maybe they have a bit of a front, but like, I don't know. I really like California. It's so nice.
No, a lot of people that we've met, like even on the podcast and stuff like that too, we came into that mindset of like, okay, we got to be careful who we meet, who we talk to. We have to stay strong and hold ourselves accountable in a certain way, because there is fake people out there. So but when we came out here, we were like, everyone's like really cool. And
everyone's just trying to hustle and grind.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has their own path too. I understand when you were like, you got to find your circle, your group, because so many people out here have a different path that they're going on. And you kind of have to reflect on yourself of which path you want to take. Because hanging out with these certain people will bring you to a certain path, but also is that the path you're wanting to take?
100%.
From the beginning, you could get lost in somebody else's path.
It can get really confusing for sure.
For sure. I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, your musical influences like Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, Jessie J, and Becky Hill. Obviously I can see that through your music and your voice. How do you think those inspirations kind of helped you progress with your music?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've always gravitated to bigger voices because I have a really big voice.
Yeah, you do.
And thank you. And, you know, like growing up and singing classical, I am so blessed to have that training, even though at 5 years old, I was like, oh my God, I want to sing Christina. Like, whatever. I don't want to sing this opera song.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity because it taught me vocally how to sing in so many different octaves and in different ways and different styles. And so I think when you look at the training of someone like Jessie J, like she has this incredible control over her voice. So I've always been like, I want to learn how she does that. Becky Hill, I feel like, same as like Hayla, for example, have brought incredible big voices back to like EDM music, which is something that, you know, I write a lot of pop dance EDM. So I'm really passionate about that. Beyonce, I mean, I am first and foremost a performer. I always have been. Zara Larsson said something really cool the other day where she was like, I didn't even know about the whole songwriting aspect. I just wanted to be on stage. And I think that was my passion when I was younger. Now it's very much like I love songwriting and I love performing equally. But I just always gravitated towards big performers, big personalities, big vocalists, and just larger than life, like live music, you know? So I think that's why I always gravitated.
So were you one of those kids that your mom always like put you like on the spot, like, oh yeah, look at my daughter, she could sing and dance?
No, you know
do
what?
like karaoke?
Yeah, karaoke
No,
stuff.
like honestly, she was a bit of a stage mom sometimes. Like she'd be like, don't forget to smile, don't forget to get into character. And I was like, okay, lady, like, just like I cannot look at you in front row. But she was never like a pageant mom where she's like, my daughter can sing. Although there was one time in Thailand where she like fully was like, oh my God, like my daughter can sing, and she did that thing. And I was like, I've had like shots and stuff while we're doing this. So, you know, she did do it a little bit, but I think my sister does it more. My sister every Christmas is like, you're singing. And I'm like, I'm on vacation. And she's like, nah, you're singing. So,
you're the go-to. You're the go-to.
I guess your mom understands because she's also was in the music industry as well.
Through me, I guess. She was a bit of a momager sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. You know, obviously we do our research here on, you know, at the Artistry Drop. And one thing that definitely caught me off guard was your name. You know, so we know you as Nina Nevra, but I see you were going as Nina Balmer, I think as well, which I'm assuming is your actual last name?
That's my actual last name.
Okay, so what made you go with Nevra, or is that like a stage name? Or?
Yeah, it is a stage name. Okay. And I always wanted to be Nina Nevra, actually. I used to say, I don't have a middle name.
Okay.
And I felt really left out as a little kid. I was like, what? I don't have a middle name? That's so lame. And so I used to say that my name was Nina Nevra Baumer, and people would believe it. They'd be like, wow, that's such a cool name.
Yeah.
And so I went by Nina Baumer for a really long time. And then 2 years ago, I had a bit of a life change, and I was like, you know what? I'm done just having that. I want to have an artist name. I want to kind of have an alias because Nina Baumer really likes to be in the shadows sometimes and sit in my cozy pink like PJs and chill, you know?
For
and Nina Nevra is always out there, always on the go. And it's not that they're two different personalities at all. I just, I think musically it can kind of help me separate. And also like my family is very important to me, and I dream, I hope that one day I, you know, make it to the big stages, and I'd like to keep that privacy for them. So
for sure. Yeah. Where did Nevra come from though? Like, was that something you kind of just came up with, or
you really want to know the story?
I kind of do.
Right. Okay. So I didn't have a middle name, and Barbies weren't that big of a thing, but Bratz dolls were a huge thing.
Bratz dolls.
And so when I was little, I had Bratz dolls. I had Sasha, I had Jade, and I had this Bratz doll called Nevra. And I thought she was just so cool. Like, I loved her outfits, I loved her hair, I loved her makeup. Like, I thought she was sick. And I was like, Nina Nevra, like, that's such a cool name. And as I said, like, I made that my middle name.
That's
and
dope.
And people believed it. And I don't know what it was. I just always had this, like, oh, that'd be such a cool name. My mom was like, call yourself Nina GC. I was like, what? Like, GC. So, that's just how it always kind of worked. And I feel like I've really clicked with that. And it's interesting, like, when people ask for my name now, like, that's what I tell them. And it feels comfortable, you know? Whereas Baumer, like, I'm so proud of my last name, but people be like, how do you say that?
Yeah,
like you get on stage and they're like, Bum. I'm like, well, that's not, I want to be like, you announce me, you know?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's dope. I
So
like
Brat Stalls, shout out to Brat Stalls.
shout out. I like the origin. It's really dope.
Yeah.
Really
It
dope.
does like have a ring to it too.
Yeah, it
like,
does.
Yeah. So that's dope. You know, so we did some deep diving and research on your music
Yeah, you
as
found
well.
my last name.
Yeah,
Good.
I know.
I like it.
Oh, it's gonna get deeper. Get ready. Strap in.
Oh, God. Okay. Here we go.
So, you know, going into your music career, you know, it's been about 2 years since you last released a music video in an EP. You know, I know you released some singles last year, but can we expect any new projects or albums or EPs this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad you asked. I'm releasing a song April 17th.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
It's called Less, and it is probably the first step towards what I sound like sonically, I would say.
okay.
Kind of like I've done a lot of pop, and I think if you listen through, it's interesting, I listened even through yesterday through my music that I've released or demos, and I can hear like, okay, I was really into this at the time and I was really into this at the time, and now I just feel very confident and happy about the music that I'm releasing. So the next song is very drum and bass. It's like R&B drum and bass. Cool. And I would say the project that I'm working on is very inspired by, you know, like pop R&B melodies meets EDM. So I'm releasing probably 5 songs, maybe an EP. We'll see how that all goes this year. And I'm hoping to do 2 to 3 videos. So I'm pretty excited. Yeah. Hoping to finish it all up with a big showcase at the end with all female artists.
Nice.
Hey,
and on the side, I'm working on a little DJ project.
Hey, cool.
Yeah.
Do you DJ as well, or?
I'm teaching myself. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
That's cool.
Okay.
Because I was like, you know what? Like, I love pop EDM dance, and I discovered that about myself last year. Like, I'd always known, but it was one of those things where I was in a club in Croatia at 4 a.m. and I was like, oh my God, I just love this music so much. And I knew that about myself, but I came back to the States and I was like, nah, that's what I need to do. And I talked to my best friend about it, and she was like, yeah, dude, I know, I've been telling that. And I talked to my producer about it. He's like, can I swear on this?
Yeah, of course.
He's like, thank fuck, because I've just been waiting. Like, you made me do fucking rock and roll music. So I feel like I'm in a really good place sonically. I'm very excited about everything that's coming out.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So I know there hasn't been too much in the last 2 years, but I think I needed that time to like really figure out
for sure
what I wanted to do. You know?
That's exciting.
Yeah, there's definitely over
stoked.
like quality over quantity for sure. Sometimes you need that break and that step back to produce quality work too.
Yeah, and you know, life happens. Like I went through a huge life change. Like I quit my corporate job and stuff, and went into more like freelance and not just music. I also act. So I was doing that. I mean, I'm doing that as well. And then like, you know, navigating like how do you mentally break away from being in a corporate environment, and also like, so you're working 80 hours a week plus you're doing an artist project. Then I didn't have a manager anymore, and I was like, whoa, I got to do everything myself, you know? So like, I think as an artist, I just really had to take that time, which was kind of tough because you want to put out music for your fans, you want to be playing consistently and stuff. But looking back at it now, it's so funny. Like, I'm glad I had that break and really figured out what I wanted to do. You know, it's so weird. The universe works in weird ways.
And it's working out. When you left your corporate job, like, how was that? Because that probably was really scary to not have that financial stability.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm so grateful for that job that I had and the company that I worked for. I worked for them since college, so I'm really stoked.
Long time.
Worked for Red Bull.
Nice. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So I worked for them in college. I was a Red Bull girl. I went around in the car.
Passing out free Red Bull.
Is it the Mini
with
Cooper?
The can?
Yeah. Okay.
Great job. Best job of my life.
I can see that.
Shout out to the Wings girls. So such a good time. And then I moved to LA, and I was like, well, I still need, you know, like I'm very real. Like I was like, no one's rolling out the red carpet. Like you're another girl trying to make it here. Like get real, you know? So I'm grateful. Like I did a great job in Boston, and they helped me out, got me a job here. And then from there they were like, oh, we think you'd be a great executive assistant. And I was like, really? I don't, but all right, sure. And then so I was an executive assistant for I think nearly a year.
With Red Bull still? That's
with
crazy.
Red Bull,
That's cool.
Thank you to the head of Media House and the head of culture, and both taught me so much.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially having a female as a leader was just really inspirational. But I mean, mentally, like, you know, it's also an Austrian company, right? So I'm getting up at like, I work out also. So like I'm getting up at like 5:30 and this is pandemic time too, right? Yeah. So I'm getting up at 5:30 and working out and working from like 6 a.m. to whatever time they needed me because I'm an assistant.
Yeah.
Damn.
And it's the pandemic. So you're like, there's only so much I can do. But I took that job specifically because I knew that I wanted to put out an EP and the EP was going to cost me this much. This job was going to pay me this much.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a tactical thing. But getting out of that, you know, you release the EP, you release the music videos, you come out of that and you're like, shit, I don't have any content to like put out anymore because I've been working so much. I haven't been in sessions.
Right.
Also, it's a pandemic. How the hell am I supposed to do sessions, you know?
Zoom.
So, which like,
it's not the same,
you know, good things did come out of it. But no, it's just a mental shift in being like, you work 80 hours, you're answering to someone else. And like, I had to kind of be like, okay, now if I'm working and in sessions from like Tuesday to Saturday or Tuesday to Sunday, it's okay to take a Monday off, you know, which in that world it's Monday to Friday. So it's definitely it's taken me a little bit of time to get to that. But I'm a very structured person. So like when it comes to my work ethic, so I don't know if there's been that much of a shift in that sense, but I'm a lot more relaxed.
Okay, yeah.
So was that job remote or were you working in office even during the pandemic?
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. I was in office and then I remember seeing, it was so wild. I remember seeing like a little like news ad about like, oh, like what's going on. I think it was like, title was like, what's going on in why are people dropping in China or something like that. I was like, what? And then my co-worker the next time came in and was like, did you hear about that? And I was like, whatever. Like, and then in 3 weeks we were like, you know, at home, right? Which actually worked out great because I got to sleep a bit more.
For sure.
But the assistant job was really hard because I was onboarded virtually. I didn't meet my boss till like 6 months into the job when I was like, I think I'm gonna go in 2 months. And she was like, oh, we just figured everything out.
Oh, wow.
But so definitely you had learned so much from that time in my life.
Yeah, you did.
Sure.
I want to go back into your music. You know, you kind of mentioned it about the shift in the genre of music that you're creating. You know, I noticed that the genre you normally create is, you know, normally like upbeat pop. It has a very like feel good vibe to it. But I noticed your newest single, I Still Got It, that you released last year was very different from the rest. You know, it was still upbeat, but it was very like grimy and it had a lot of attitude and sass to it. So I kind of wanted to know what kind of inspired this change in music sonically.
Yeah, I honestly think I was just really, I go into sessions, like I have an overall understanding now, especially of what I want to sound like sonically. But at the time, I think I was just trying to figure that out. And I Still Got It. Honestly, I was just so inspired by my friend's story and music that I was listening to at the time. And oh my God, my friend was so fucked over by this guy. And I was literally talking to her and she's like, oh, I'm not pretty enough, whatever. And I was like, are you shitting me? Like, you still got it. Like, you're beautiful. And that just sparked that song. And I was, as a friend, like, I'm so loyal and protective of my girlfriends. And I was like, no, like there needs to be a song. Like there's so many songs shitting on men, and I, you know, like I love men. But, like, also, like
they can be shitty. They can be shitty. For sure.
But you know, it goes both ways though. I want to keep it peace. I want to keep it Swiss. I want to keep it peace. But I was like, I need a song that's not like like, you know, screw you to the guy, but also like it's got to be a hype song for the girls to be like, I'm getting ready. Even if it's not about the guy that they're sad about, like it's just about being put down. And I feel like I've even been like that, where you feel like you have absolutely no worth because of the other person. And I just went into the session that day and I was like, here's the story. And I think I read it with Sammy Hakim and Kian, who, bless his soul, I think I've gone into the sessions with him so many times and I'm like, man, and he's the sweetest producer. So that's how that song came about. But it is a little bit different, but I think I also at that stage had matured a bit more as an artist. And so that song is still very different to everything. Well, not very different, but it's more in the sense of what I'm going towards now. And then, of course, Marco Polo was very different too, you know?
Yeah,
so
it was, yeah.
as I said before, if you listen back, it's kind of been my sonic journey of everything that I've been inspired by, but now I've landed on where I want to go. So,
that's
excited to hear for this year.
You know, talking about Marco Polo, you know, you released it in about 2020 or 2022, my bad. But you came out with a super fire remix and just last year, 2023, the Michael remix. Is that how you pronounce it? Michael? Okay. Yep. Michael remix. Though, you know, the original, I definitely felt like it had some kind of gospel kind of vibe to it, but the remix definitely pushes it to its limits with like the up-tempo version of it. What was the reason behind like actually remixing Marco Polo?
So Michael is the producer that is across all of a majority of my music now.
Okay, yeah.
I think every song that's coming out this year is being produced by him.
Nice.
So he's kind of...
It's good to stick with the, you know, the same producer.
I love that man.
Yeah.
Probably more than he knows. Literally, I like text him like every week. I'm like, I really appreciate you. But no, he's just like, you know, that's about finding your tribe. Like I met Michael like 4 years ago and he was so quiet in this session, but what he was making was absolute gas. And I was like, no one can find out about him. Like, don't work with him.
You're mine.
You're mine. But also, like, everyone work with him, but you're mine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I put Marco Polo and he's like, oh, I really love this song. And I put that out. It's very different, but gospel music is so beautiful and inspirational. I just went into the studio that day and I just had that concept of Marco Polo, but like reaching out to yourself. And so that just came about. And Michael was like, oh, this is a really cool song. And I can hear that, you know, you very much wrote this for yourself and for everyone else that feels like that as well. Right. But he's across all my stuff, especially EDM. And he's like, oh, I'm just going to remix it though. And I was like, okay, like whatever, you know, that's cool. And he sends back that track and he's like, we should just put it out. And I was like, yeah, this is fire. So, and it's important to me, you know, when I write, like I want to make sure that my songs, not every song is going to be remixed, of course, but it's important to me when I write a song that you can remix it, but you could also strip it back acoustically because I love performing and I love performing with a big band, but it's so special to me if I can strip it back and perform it acoustically. So those are always my three main things. Like one, am I feeling it? Is the audience going to feel it? If it's live, 2, can I strip it back? And 3, could this be a dope remix? And he fucking killed it.
That's
he did.
That's cool.
It was dope.
Yeah, that's dope.
You know, I love all your music videos as well. You know, Push and Pull, you know, not only showed your talent like as an artist, but it also showed your skills as an actress, you know.
Thank you.
In that video, you were very intentional about showing like different emotions. And I'm curious to know what kind of inspired the song and what that song meant to you and how the concept like came about.
Oh my God, my boyfriend's going to hate me. Oh man.
It's about him. I see.
Is.
Okay.
But it's the one that's like mean about him. And now I listen back and I was like, damn, you really stayed with me after that. No, I mean, you know, relationships can be really tough. And especially in the pandemic, like I met my boyfriend right before. And we're just very different. Like he's not in music at all, and at the time that was really difficult in just like two worlds colliding. But he took so much time and patience to learn about me, and we really know each other now. But going back into Push and Pull, we did not know each other at the time.
Okay.
And so, you know, he's the type of person where at the time, if I was like, oh, I need space, he's like, I'm just going to latch on even harder. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I think I say in the song, like, I just need space or something like that. Push and Pull. I just really wanted a fun song with kind of not great fun lyrics, if that, like fun lyrics, but kind of sad lyrics. You know, I kind of love that discourse in music. And the music video was inspired. I mean, honestly, it was a bit inspired by TikTok, and I just loved the transitions and everything that was going on at the time. But I didn't write it for TikTok. I wrote it with the intention of like giving a message to my boyfriend, like give me space. But at the same time, I came up with that music video because I wanted to show all those different emotions. And
for sure.
I think as an artist, it can be really hard to show like, you know, you have this artist's face, and it's really hard to sometimes break through and be like, I know you love my music, but this is who I am as a person. You know, like how much capacity does a fan have to take that all in?
Yeah.
Right.
And
exactly.
so Push and Pull was a video where I was like, okay, like this color represents this color represents this is my emotion here. And it was kind of cool from a marketing standpoint because I was able to post on specifically like Instagram and like put captions like red makes me feel this. And so it was that's kind of what inspired it.
Yeah,
so it was really cool.
Yeah, that's dope. You know, congrats on reaching 25K on that video. You know, it's going crazy. You know, hey 25K.
Thank you.
You know, what do you think like contributed to the success of that video? You know, do you think it was because of the marketing aspect afterwards? Because it was a hit for sure.
Yeah, I think people just like really gravitated towards, you know, it was such an emotional time.
Right.
And I think people gravitated towards the different types of emotions, and it was very kind of, that EP is so many different facets of like who I am or was as a person. Like you have like Breakdown Baby, which is like rock and roll, which is clearly showing like I was interested in something else. But I think that video did well because people just liked the emotions that I was putting out there, and it was a fun video. Like there's so many transitions. People are like, whoa, what's going on? It was a really cool, like,
I guess it's dope too for like people who have like short attention span, especially now with TikTok, because everything is like changing. It was kind of fast paced.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, and I was like, I just wanted to be fun. You know, I wanted to be colorful. I wanted to be fun.
Yeah.
It was such a challenge filming. I was like, did we get the transition right? And we had like 5 hours to do it. So I was oh my God. We like had a shot list of like 100 different shots, and I was like sitting there editing it. I was like, oh my God, we didn't get the shot. Like, okay, zoom in. Like, let's figure it out. No,
wait, so did you actually edit that video?
Yeah, I sat down and edited it with my videographer Joseph, who shout out to him, he was great, and my manager at the time, Katie, she really helped me with that as well.
You know, I want to point that out. That's perfect because, you know, whenever I shoot a music video as well, I love when the artist sits next to me and edit because I find it so much easier. There's been so many times where, you know, I'll put in one rough cut. I'll put in a rough cut, send it over, edit
100%.
Like, oh my God. But you know, when I decided to change it up, and I was like, hey, you know, we all live here. Just come over. Come over. Let's fucking edit this. You know, let's edit this together. So, you know, it's happened a couple times. You know, the artist come over and he'll edit with me and stuff like that. And we killed the music video, I want to say maybe in 14, 15 hours.
Oh my God, it's so much easier.
Like, it's easier than me having to go back and forth and, you know.
But, you know, it's not for everyone. It's just like, it's a personal thing too. Like as an artist, like I edit all my own content.
For
like
sure.
I do a lot of content with Joseph as well, but like I'm so particular about what I want. If I could shoot it myself, I would, you know.
Sure.
But I'm not going to do that. I've got my hands full. But I'm just so particular about my vision and what I want. And that's not to say that I'm not collaborative, because I'm probably like one of the most collaborative people where I'm like, I really want your input. But when I have a vision for something, I'm like, no, this is exactly what I want it to look like. Trust me. And it's so much easier to I'd rather drive an hour, sit with him or whatever, and then just work through it rather than like sending back 10 different things. And then it's like, oh, just kidding, got the file wrong. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, so just like, it could come down to like the millisecond of a shot and being like, no, and sending that over an email is just like, oh my God.
Right.
You're the kind of artist I want to work with.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
I'm not joking. Like it's honestly, you know, I've worked with so many artists on music videos and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of the times it's, you know, because me and him also work on the videos together. So a lot of the times it's us coming up with the concepts and that, passing it off to the artist, and, you know, they kind of go along with it.
Yeah.
But I love when the artist has the input, because I love seeing what the artist wants, because the song is, your song is pretty much a vision.
Yeah,
it's just not a visual yet.
Yeah.
You're the one
100%.
kind of putting out the visual. We're the ones, you know, filming it and everything for you, you know. So I love the fact that you're actually part of the whole, you know, pre-production process, the production process. I feel it's so much easier. And I found it so much easier when you work with an artist like that. So I appreciate that for sure. I appreciate that for sure.
It's definitely better, because not only does it make it easier, but it also makes the end product so much more fire.
And something you can be so proud of, you know. It's just like, and that's okay. Like I honestly, like, not every song that I write I have like a huge vision for, you know. So like, it's sometimes when I work with my photographer, I'm like, dude, like I actually don't know, like how many more times can I shoot in the desert and make it this way? You know? So like,
exactly.
I love collaborating and coming up, because like also like play to your strengths, right? Like if I'm going to work with my photographer, that's his passion. That's what he does best. And so I love hearing his input. But when as I said, like when you do have that specific vision, it's so important to execute that, and it's just like it's a passion, and it's your baby, and like if you're gonna put it out in the world, you know, show that baby care.
I love that. I love that.
You want to be proud.
Yeah,
you know?
I love that. Big ups to you for that. I love that.
For sure.
Thank you, guys.
You know, I went a little bit deep diving into your YouTube channel. You know, I noticed you actually it goes deep. You know, I actually saw that you started your own like podcast interview show.
This is different for me, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're on the other side now.
Yeah, you're on the other side, yeah.
But it came out like in like 3 different kind of series. You know, first it was like Shut In and Listen, which you did through Zoom, I assume during COVID.
Yeah.
And then you did Poolside, where you interview guests inside of a pool. And then you did Fireside, which was like a more intimate outdoor setting, you know, next to a bonfire.
Yeah.
What kind of inspired you to like create these different kind of series?
Okay, so I love hosting as well.
Oh, okay.
What up?
Yeah, for sure.
What can't you do?
Right. Oh my God.
You're just like us. We love the hosting aspect of it.
Yeah, it's just so fun.
It's fun.
It is
I love
fun,
talking.
yeah.
I love talking.
I'm super extroverted, so
Sometimes on stage, like I look at my boyfriend, he's like, "Shut up! Like, you should probably start singing." I'm
That's
like,
how this guy looks at me. Because I'm super extroverted.
We'll just
so,
keep talking all day.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
We could.
But yeah, no. So I obviously pandemic again, you know, and I was like, I think I did the pandemic backwards. I really did. Like, I'm so people are fight or flight, and I'm very much fight. And so like, the pandemic started, and I was like, are you shitting me? Like, I just got here.
Yeah.
I was just getting my feet into the surface, like about to do all these exciting things. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Let's go to Instagram Live, because TikTok was like kind of weird and not a thing yet. And they also didn't have live. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to just do IG Live. And I would literally do IG Live like 4 times a week. Thank God my roommates were my bass playing guitar, but I think they were so over playing my songs. And I wanted to hang out with my friends, you know, and I feel like I have a pretty good knack of who I kind of can tell when an artist is really dope and I feel like they're going to pop off. And so I like interviewed like Naika, for example, because I thought she was so cool and I knew she was going to do really well. And I was just like, if I don't talk to her now, like I got no chance, because she's going to pop off, you know, and she did. And I'm so like happy for her. Or like Jake Bennett, who's an incredible artist, songwriter. There were some people in Australia, I think I did Jordan Hawkins, and it was just really about like, 1, giving people entertainment, 2, being able to connect and create community with different artists. And it was just fun for me as well. Like, I love talking. I love finding out about people's different stories.
Right.
And I stuck to it. I did, I think, like once every Thursday or something. And also just connecting with like artists in New York who like would want to move to LA, but like they can't, you know?
Right.
And it was just about having conversation and making people feel a little bit less lonely, but giving artists a platform to actually talk to. And I'm an emerging artist, you know, underground, unsigned, emerging. And I think it can be really hard to find platforms for unsigned artists. So that was also a thing. Oh my gosh. And then we moved to a house that was really dope and had a pool. And I was like, oh my God, I have to do something with this space. That's the thing for me. If I walk into a room, I'm like, oh, this is sick.
You have an idea.
Ideas start
like,
popping.
Oh my God. And so I'd always seen like Hot Wings or something. And so this was when pandemic's still happening, but people were a little bit more inclined to like meet up. And I was like, oh my God, what if I just make artists jump in a pool and talk to me?
Yeah.
And it worked out so well. It was so much fun.
It's a creative idea.
Thank you.
Very creative.
And I was like, oh my God, we're gonna shoot each other with like little toy sharks.
Yeah.
This is gonna be, we're gonna play a noodle fight. Like whatever. And then we're gonna do a song, you know? Because I was really inspired by the Share show. And so I've always wanted to do that, kind of how Kelly Clarkson and like Drew Barrymore, but like, I hope one day I can have my own show and do that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
As much as I want to create entertainment, I really love finding out about different people's stories, whether they're artists or producers or writers. I think everyone has a story to tell, and so that was really important. Just being fun and creative about it. And then Fireside, I was like, well, it's winter, I'm not jumping in a pool. So that's why we created Fireside.
Okay. Yeah, different seasons.
Different vibe. Yeah. So,
it had so much like momentum. Like, what made you like stop doing those?
I moved house and I didn't have a pool anymore. And I've always wanted to start it again, but I think I've just been like, I got to focus a bit more on like the music side of things, but it's definitely something I want to bring back, and hopefully one day I can go back into the hosting aspect because I love it.
Yeah, so, I can see you like hosting like a TV show.
Oh my God, people say that all the time. When I was on The Voice, like people were like, oh, do you want to go back and do that? I was like, no, like I want to host that show. I want to host it or be a judge. Like I don't want to be a contestant.
I can see it.
We are manifesting.
Yeah, or like Dancing with the Stars or something. Like I see you hosting.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Hi, how are you? How'd that performance feel? Yeah,
exactly.
Love it. Oh my God, on the Oscars, the Grammys, on the red carpet.
Oh yeah,
we're manifesting.
For sure. Yeah, there you go.
You know, I mean, it's just like us. You know, we definitely love hosting. You know, I think the first time around, you know, is something new for us. Yeah. I've always been an extrovert, so it was a little bit easier for me to adapt. For him, he's more introverted, so it's a little bit tougher. But he's definitely breaking out of that shell. But I just love the hosting aspect. I love meeting people like you and
so
getting to know, you know, people in their artistry. That's why we created Artistry Job, just because it's not just, you know, music artists. It's literally like directors, actual painters, models, models. You know, like we want to invite everybody in some specific artistry to get to know their story and stuff, you know. So I definitely see why you love it as well. You know, that's the reason why we love it. So, you know, that's dope. Kind of going into what you were talking about, you know, hosting shows, I had found out you were part of various shows that were based in Australia, such as Australia's School Spectacular, the Netball World Cup opening ceremony, and of course, the most notable and most people know here in the States, The Voice, but Australia version. Yes.
You could be the voice for The Voice.
Right, I know. Oh my God, those royalties.
For sure. You know, you competed, I believe, in 2015. I'd seen the clip of you singing Something's Got a Hold of Me, and when you went face to face against Nicholas, and I gotta say, you were amazing. You fucking killed it. Killed it. The one crazy thing though is you were still in high school at that time too, right?
Oh my God, I was a baby.
Yeah, so you were in high school, so I'm assuming it was such a crazy time for you. You're in high school. Were you spreading the word like, guys, I'm on The fucking Voice? Like, what was your experience of actually being on The Voice and all that?
That was a crazy ride. I, again, so grateful for that opportunity because it taught me I do not want to be a contestant. I want to be a host there. I'm so grateful for that opportunity, but it was stressful, man. Like, I was 17, so my mom had to also fly with me because when you're under 18, you have to have a parent there. So I'll keep it real with you. Like I would fly. I was already doing a show in Sydney as well called School Spectacular. And so I would fly. I think it was like Sunday night and be there. Get in Sunday night to Sydney from Wollongbar or Gold Coast Airport. Get in, film at like. Get up at 4 a.m. Start filming 5:30. Wrap about like 2, 3, go back to the hotel, get some food, do my assignments, catch up on anything, because I also had to sign like an NDA, and none of my teachers except for 2 teachers knew. Damn. So I'd be like email back and forth with them. For sure. Had to clear it with my principal, and so she knew why I was taking days off and stuff. And then so I'd do that for until maybe Wednesday. Then if I had like a rehearsal in Sydney, I'd stay. Then I'd fly back to Wollongbar, go to school Thursday, Friday, waitress Thursday, Friday, Saturday, do the same thing again. That's and crazy. Depending on the schedule, you know, like the schedule's all different. And then I got through to the battles, and at that point I had turned 18, so my mom didn't have to come with me anymore. But yeah, it was pretty stressful, also keeping it a secret. And no, I'm not a very boastful person. That was a culture shock moving to the US. Like in Australia we keep things really low key. Like we're like, oh yeah, I'm doing a podcast. It's like cool. And here, you know, you're like, I'm doing a podcast. I'm stoked to be there. You want to talk about it. So like when I got to the US, people were like, why don't you just tell people that you're on The Voice? I'm like, I don't know. Like whatever. And so in Australia I didn't really talk about it. Like obviously like people were gonna see that I was on TV, and you did have to keep it a secret and everything, but also like I am just that type of person. And as much as I don't always love that about the Australian culture, I do think it's kept me very level-headed and humble.
Yeah.
But yeah, over there you just kind of don't boast about things. Like it's just like you do, and
You do you.
you do you, and I don't know. There's a lot more that goes into that. But yeah, I just kept it really chill. And obviously, you know, the newspapers came, and I stayed waitressing, which also keeps you really humble. Like you're on TV on freaking Tuesday night, and you're serving on Thursday. So like, just kept it humble. But I did get recognized once in a mall, and that was pretty cool.
That's so
You felt famous at that time.
Yeah,
That's me.
That's so. You know, you kind of said this already, but like, would you go on another reality competition show?
Oh man, I've thought about American Idol. I have thought about The Voice because wow, they'd have a great story. Be like, she was on The Voice in Australia.
Yeah.
And then because that was the thing is like I just did not play into the story aspect. They were like, oh, talk about this with your family. Talk about this, and I was like, no. And then they were like, who's your biggest competition? I was like, man, I'm just trying to sing my song.
For sure,
I love the camera. I love the get ready with me stuff, but like really just trying to be a musician and sing my song. It's hard. I've thought about Idol. I've thought about The Voice, but I think I'm going to give it a go. Just doing it independently until I'm not independent anymore. And see how far I can get without it. And you know, maybe I'll give it a go another day.
That's a good choice. You know why? Because we've actually had quite a few people that were on American Idol here, and they honestly said they wouldn't go back.
I just don't want to be boxed in. You know, like for like a year, I was like Nina from The Voice. I was like, bro, like I did it. It was sick. I was so grateful, but at the same time, like, I had a career before it. Exactly. I have a career without it. So.
And you know, you're gonna blow up independently anyways.
Of course.
I hope
you know?
so.
No, you will.
And a lot of the people that we've had on who's been on those shows, like they said, like the only thing that they got out of it was the clout.
Yeah, that was
pretty much it.
Which
Just
I wish I
clout.
did better for sure. I would do Eurovision for sure. I'd represent Switzerland or Austria, but because that's a different thing though.
Sure.
Like that's not really like it's a competition, but it's so wild in Europe.
Really.
And you know, it launched people like Celine and ABBA and stuff like that. So it's a bit different, but you just get a bit boxed in, and I think a lot of people go on that show and they get really like famous in like 15 minutes, but you also have to be able to like keep that consistent and like keep that clout going. And I went on being like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Go sing on a show, like whatever. And I wish I had like put out music or something, because I would have charted obviously on the on like iTunes or something, because you have so many people paying attention to you. So I don't think I utilized it properly, but that's also taught me a lot too. If I ever do it again, make sure you got some good shit out. Some good shit out.
Keep it going. So, you know, going into some of your performances, you know, I watched some of your live performances, covers, and, you know, I just saw like how talented you are as far as your vocal range and control. I could definitely see you being like a vocalist. Since you have so much range, do you ever find it like difficult to put that in your own music? Because, you know, music and recording is not really about range, you know?
You know, that's a yes and no question, because I do think music and like songs, like especially as an artist, like that's your time to shine, right? Like, and you got 3 minutes to show what you can do if you want to. So there's so many, like Christina Aguilera, like how many times does she riff in a song? But that's her style. That's what she's like, I'm going to fucking riff and you're going to listen to it. But I think I've learnt the art of kind of like, it's been kind of a journey of like, I am very versatile. I can sing classical, I can sing rock, and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to do a rock album, or like, oh, I can do this and that. And that's sometimes really difficult as an artist, because you want to do everything. And it's a blessing and a curse, because I'm like, I want to do everything. I want to release this type of album. But now I think I've gotten to the point where I've learned to be able to channel that into my songwriting and songwrite for other artists. And it's been really cool to write for other artists and be able to, you know, take that brain power of like the R&B side, or take that brain power of like the pop side and be like, oh, if you throw that riff in there, do it this way, sing it this way. Like you can kind of take your own knowledge and songwriting skills and put it towards another artist, which is really cool. But then at the same time, as writing for myself as an artist, like not every song needs a big belt. But that's something I had to learn, because when I was little, I was like, I want to just at every point in my life because I can. And now I'm like, but maybe the song doesn't need that, you know? But on the other side of that, like, and that kind of goes back to finding your tribe and the people you want to work with. I was told at one point in my life, like, oh, don't use your voice like that. Like, don't use your big voice because it's not in. It's not cool. It's kind of annoying. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'll just sing very quiet and do the soft, speaky sing thing that was really in. And I don't really fuck with that anymore. I'm just like, if a producer's telling me to sing a type of way on my song, I'm like, I don't want to work with you. Like, I do again, value opinion and stuff, and I will always ask, like, oh, do you think this sounds better or this sounds better? But, like, if I feel something and I wrote the song in this type of way and I want to sing it this type of way and I want to put this riff there because that's how I feel, like, I'm going to put it there, you know?
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, it's been a journey of like, oh my God, I want to do it all, to like, we can't do it all right now, especially in 3 minutes. So pick your song, and then maybe this song you can do a belt, and then maybe this song we're going to tune it back a little bit because we don't need a belt here, you know? We don't need to run everywhere.
Exactly.
It's a maturity thing, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's dope. You know, aside from you being a very talented artist and singer, you are also a very talented actress. And I seen the short, The Legend of King Kang Mai, I think, which you played a bartender. That was fucking dope.
I play the captain.
Yeah, was it the captain? Okay.
Captain bartender.
I mean, you're okay. And then, of course, Here's the Plan, which was filmed in like 48 hours. I also participated in a 48-hour film competition. Oh my God.
Were you so tired?
Yeah, it's fucking hard. This was back home in Seattle when I was still in film school. Yeah. And it was just one of those things where like, hey, let's fucking do it. We can try to, because they were, you know, it's prize money too. So unfortunately we didn't get the prize money, but it was still a dope experience. And then lastly, I think you starred in a short, Muted. Did you at all?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
okay, yeah. I couldn't find anything on it. I found it on your IMDb though. Yes. So that's why I was like, okay, I searched everywhere on YouTube. I couldn't.
You really dug in. I loved
I dug in. I just
respect it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay,
that's okay.
So
that's okay. You don't need to. You don't need to.
Sure, it's all right.
How has it been on these productions? And do you plan to like act in any more like short films like that? And are you aiming towards more like features or like TV series, streaming series?
Yeah, thank you for doing your research, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Host to host, I get you. It kind of freaks the other person out. You're like, whoa.
You know too much.
No, but it's sick, so I do really appreciate it.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the work that goes into that.
For sure.
Like, damn, Google. I've always acted my whole life, and then I really got back into it when I moved to LA. I was like, let me just try this thing called Backstage, and then got a Hilton commercial.
I know Backstage,
right?
Yeah,
and so I think it's a little oversaturated now because we're all trying to hustle after the strike.
Right.
But it's been really cool, and like King Kang Mai and the Agbo Film Festival short was directed by the same
director and
film crew, Brian and Brotherhood Studios, and they've kind of taken me under their wings. So shout out to them. It's been a really cool journey, and I do plan to do a lot more shorts, especially shorts, and getting into more commercials as well. Like I've done a lot of like smaller commercials, but the goal is kind of like, okay, what can we do with bigger TV things? Let's try to land a Super Bowl ad. So that would be really cool. That's on the goal list, But acting in shorts and kind of taking on a lot more serious roles is definitely a goal of mine. Like doing the Agbo thing was so cool because they were like, I like to just go head in first, classic Aries, and they were like, oh, have you ever done stunts? I was like, but like I can learn. We had 7 hours to shoot a film. Well, you're gonna get punched in the face here, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do it. Like not actually, but here's the choreography. And wow, learning how to fall is that's like the minimalist thing. But I was like, damn,
to make it look real.
And like me being paid, which I was, because it's not fun. For sure. But no, it taught me so much, and I think if I had a dream role, it would either be like get to play something with like, singing in it, kind of like a singer-song, like not a singer-song, like a pop star or something in a movie or whatever. That'd be super cool. But also like I would love to play like a badass like Bond girl. That'd be dope. The type that's like, sir, I don't need your help, but I can help you. So, but I'm still here and I'm cute. So that'd be a really cool role.
You got a lot of different bags you could get for sure.
I know. I'm still
you
on
could do it all.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the vibe. I mean, hey, Margot Robbie just was a villain and then she was Barbie.
That's true. That's true.
Emma Stone. So,
as much as like me and you can talk, we could talk forever.
Oh, yeah.
The podcast is coming to an end.
No,
yes, we can definitely keep talking talking forever, but we created Artistry Drop to inspire a lot of other artists, upcoming artists and stuff like that. So I want to get your advice on what you can give to our viewers on becoming an artist and a singer and an actress.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking to one of my best friends about that today, and people were always like, you can't do everything, and which is very true. But I think if you have a passion for something and you want to really pursue that passion, whether it's singing or acting or both, or you want to become a painter or a host or whatever you want to do, just fully commit to it and send it. And like, people will doubt you along the way. I think you have to be your biggest fan and believer, even if that sounds narcissistic, but it's not. It's just like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to, right? So you have to believe in yourself and never, ever, ever give up, which is something that I also have to tell myself every other day is like, God, it's so hard. It's hard. If you don't have that it's a really, really tough journey. Because you're one person and you're fighting against a lot of people who want to do the same thing. But I think if I had advice, it's just go for it, never give up, and really, really believe in yourself, which may be cliche, but it's true. I think I tell myself all the time is like, you just have to go for it. Like, also, what do you got to lose? Like, if you're going to you could try painting and discover that you don't actually like that much, but at least you gave it a go. You could quit your job and in 6 months' time be like, actually, I really like the structure of that. And that's okay. You can go back, you can get another job, right? So like, I think in the grand scheme of things, we look at a situation like, oh my God, it's this biggest deal ever, but you take a step out and you're like, okay, if like shit hits the fan, like what have I got to lose? Let me just give it a go. If you really feel like you want to do it. Don't give up and believe in your dreams.
You never know.
All the time I say anything is possible.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, anything is possible as long as you put your mind to it, you put in the work and the time, the effort.
Yeah. Work
anything
ethic
is possible,
huge.
for sure.
That's another thing. Sorry, I know we got to wrap up, but
no,
don't be a fucking slacker.
Don't be a fucking slacker.
I
like that.
Like if you want to do something, like you got to give it 110%. And I don't care if it's making a drink. I don't care if it's making a coffee. You better make the best fucking coffee of your life.
Exactly.
Like if you're gonna do something, you have to do it with passion and commitment and drive and like. Don't rock up to the stage and be like, whatever, I'm going to sing a song. Like, no, like there are people out there that want that position so badly. So like, if you really want to do it, like give it the attention, respect that it needs, don't be a slacker.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Where on social media can our viewers find you?
Everywhere at Nina Nevra.
Yes, and of course, guys, we're gonna link everything in the description box below. But Nina, thank you so much for coming on the show.
This was so fun.
Yeah, this was fun. Yes. You have such a great personality.
Oh, thank you.
I love your personality.
We got to bring her back for
definitely
got
to. We could just keep talking.
We can.
We definitely have to bring you back for a part 2. We've been bringing other people back for a part 2, so would love to have you back on the show. But thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Anyways, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, it's Artistry Drop. If you're not following us on Instagram, you can find us at the Artistry Drop. And if you prefer just listening, you can stream all our episodes on all major podcast platforms. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye.